Could have just handed me the mic. I was right here. It's all good. Give it up for Jared, everybody. Give it up for Jared. Putting this shit together. How you guys doing? Pretty good? All right. Drinking, I see. All right. Jared was talking about having pretty fucked up names. I have probably the most fucked up name in here. Easter. It's my last name. It's really tough growing up with that last name because you get made fun of a lot, to be honest. Like in school, like I used to get called names like Easter Bunny and Easter Basket. That was another one. Pussy. Yeah. Those were only the names my teachers came up with. But that's, I don't know, that's what happens when you're homeschooled. So. Thank you, Mom and Dad. No, I tell that joke a lot, and usually people will come up to me after the show and they're like, oh no, were you really homeschooled? I'm like, no, but I was a pussy though, so. It's a little bit of truth in every joke. I also get this question asked a lot, oh, is that your favorite holiday? No, go fuck yourself. No, it's not. But I will tell you guys my least favorite holiday, and that was Halloween. I did not like Halloween growing up. Because in my neighborhood, I was like one of the only black kids in a majority white neighborhood. So every Halloween, say I had a very limited choice of costume options. Like I remember going up to one of my white friends and I was like, hey, white friend, thinking about going as Superman this year. And he was like, what? Man, you can't go as Superman, dude. You know, because Superman wasn't black. I'm like, yeah, that's true. He also wasn't real. So we're gonna be technical about it. So I was like, all right then, man, who can I go as if I have to be like the black superhero? He was like, oh man, you have so many options. I mean, you can go as Blade. Yeah. What else is there? There's Blade 2. A lot of options there. Yeah, like I said, I was like one of the only black kids in like a majority white neighborhoods. Going into high school was a lot of fun for me. A lot of my friends, well, like my white friends, were like getting into rap music, like maybe a little bit too much. Because the guys that I hung out with were what you guys would call wiggers. I don't know if you heard of that term before. No? Is this a pretty white neighborhood? Maybe you guys don't have that. I don't know. A wigger is like one of those like is like a white kid from the burbs who like will watch a movie like Boys in the Hood and they're like, yeah, I get it. That's it. And then they would like kind of like look at me and like try to compare, you know? They were like, you know, they watch these music videos and shit and they'd be like, wow, Ray, you're not like that, dude. Wow, you're like one of the whitest black guys I know. It's like the worst thing you could say to my face. I remember my best friend came up to me and said that. My best friend was like, Ray, you know, you're like one of the whitest black guys I know. So I stole his wallet. That's what happens. I'm starting to think he had a point though, because the only thing I used out of his wallet was his Whole Foods gift card, so. Yeah, they're all over. They are. They're pretty cool though. I'm not originally from here. I'm from the East Coast. Yeah, cool. We're all here, all two of us. Originally from DC, and I moved out here. I'm living in LA right now, and I drove out here, which was a mistake, because I took the southern route to get here, so like I drove through all the racist states. Yeah, here's a quick travel tip: Louisiana hates everybody. I don't know if you knew that. I saw possibly one of the most offensive bumper stickers driving out here. was on the back of this pickup truck, and it had said, "This pickup truck was built with wrenches, not chopsticks." Yeah, it's a real bumper sticker. Well, what didn't make sense to me was it was a Toyota. So, kind of was built with chopsticks, if you think about it. I'm living in this neighborhood of LA called Koreatown. I don't know if you're that. Oh yeah.
You're not Korean.
Thank you. I get that all the time. I don't know whether it's a prerequisite to live in Koreatown. I was actually having a conversation with this older white lady, and she did ask me. She was like, "Oh, are you half Korean?" It's like, no. She was like, "Oh, I just assumed, it's Koreatown." I'm like, "Oh no, ma'am. I actually couldn't find a place in Niggatown that was quite in my price range." So she was like, "Oh, you mean Compton?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I meant." There it is. So no, I'm not Korean, if that answers your question. I do get that a lot, though. I get a lot of people do think I'm like mixed because I'm light skinned. I was actually both my parents are black, by the way. But I remember being in the South at one point, and I was having a conversation with somebody else, and somebody overheard me and was like, "Wow, oh wow, both your parents are black? Wow, I thought you were one of those Milanos." Yeah. Now I know what he meant to say. I know he meant to say mulatto, which is the racial slur for someone who's half black and half white, but he thought I was a cookie. Which I found interesting because in high school I was called an Oreo a lot, so I just assumed that white people saw all black people as like different brands of cookies. So, I don't know. This kind of got me doing it, like every time I see an old black dude, I'm like, "Oh, there's a famous Amos right there." Yeah. Same face on the bag and everything. Yeah. That is wild. When I am, I've been black for a little while now, and it's I get some perks, I get the perks of being a black dude. Like I get to say the N-word whenever I want. That's one of the perks. That's about it, actually. That's all the perks we got. I use it in like very random times. I don't know. A couple weeks ago, I actually used the N-word to win a game of Scrabble. Yeah. Like I didn't say it like I was on the board and shit. Like there was an NI, there were 2 spaces, and an ER, and I had 2 G's with me. I was like, yeah, I know where those are going. They fit. They fit. And it was a lot of fun for me because like I was playing against a white dude, so like it was like sweet justice for me. And God, he was sweating so much. I'd never seen somebody sweat. He was freaking out. He's looking at the board like, "What, man? You can't use that word." I'm like, "No, you can't use that word." Should probably read that rule book again. I don't get offended a lot. It's exhausting being offended all the time. A lot of my black friends were like kind of ranting and raving about Jeremy Lin. I don't know if anybody knows who that is. Some people. For those who don't know, Jeremy Lin's a basketball player, Asian guy, and he recently got dreadlocks. And a lot of my black friends were like, "What, man? He can't do that. That's cultural appropriation. He can't be doing that shit." I'm like, "Man, really? He's been in the league since 2010. They've taught him how to do the nay-nay already. We got him." You're like, he can't do that shit, man. He's stealing our culture. It's cultural appropriation. He can't do that. I'm like, so who cares, really? Black people have been stealing Asian culture for decades now, and no one has said shit. Because there's like, what, 300 members in the Wu-Tang Clan, and not one of those guys is Asian. I've seen all the videos. No one said that they were culturally appropriating the Asian culture. We just said that they're nothing to fuck with, and we just was like, all right, let's just leave them alone. They even renamed one of the boroughs of New York where they're from, Staten Island. All from Staten Island. In all their music, they say, hey, from Shaolin. They call Staten Island Shaolin. You can't do that shit. It's like if I went to China and like one of the locals was like, hey son, welcome to Brooklyn. I'm like, this isn't Brooklyn. Pretty far away. It's pretty far away. This is a pretty cool show. You guys been pretty cool. I'm not going yet. Don't clap. I saw some people, relax. I've been doing a lot of shows. I've been traveling a lot recently. A couple months ago, I went to Anchorage, Alaska. Fucking, I don't know why. It's a weird place. That was a very strange experience for me going to Anchorage, because it was Alaska. Let's just go with that. I got a weird vibe from the entire time, because I was like one of the only black guys that I've seen around, and that didn't really freak me out. Like, I've been in the Old Navy before, but like one of the only black guys that I saw in all of Anchorage, Alaska, was the host of the show, and I believe the only black guy in all of Anchorage that the host saw was me. So that's a lot of pressure. It is. As I get there, and he was texting me like, hey man, we're really glad you're coming here, blah blah blah. And I get there, and I could tell that he was really excited to see me because he was wearing this button-down T-shirt, and he sees me and he runs to the back, and apparently he takes off the T-shirt. He's got this Tupac Machiavelli shirt on, I guess to make me feel at home or something. He shakes my hand, and then he just starts beatboxing, full eye contact, beatboxing in my face. I'm like, this isn't how we greet each other. Maybe in the 80s, but we don't do that shit anymore. And he's like, man, we don't get a lot of black people around here. It's like, well, it's probably because you're beatboxing in their face. Stop that shit. I don't know what you think is gonna happen right now. Like, we're not about to form the first Alaskan rap group of all time, because that would look weird. I don't know, like, what would we call ourselves? NWA, niggas with altitude? Like, we'd have hits like Straight Outta Anchorage, Help the Police. That'd probably be another one. Thank you. One person got it. Not a lot of Ice Cube fans in here. Would have sworn there would be more Ice Cube fans in here. I forget. I've been. I also just got back from New York. That's probably one of my favorite cities, like, of all time. I love fucking New York City. I think my favorite thing about New York is the New York City transportation. I think the bus drivers of New York are the greatest people on the planet. And I know if comedy doesn't work out for me, that's exactly what I'm gonna get myself into. Be a New York City bus driver. Because they get to talk shit to passengers and just move on with their day. That's so great. I love it. I was hopping on a bus. I was waiting in line, and there was a guy right in front of me, and he asked the bus driver just a simple question. He was like, "Excuse me, sir, what number bus is this?" And the bus driver looked at him. He was like, nigga, whatever the fuck it says on the bus. I was like, wow, shit. This Asian dude is not playing today. Get out of here. All right, you guys been great. Thank you so much. Get up for Jared.